Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Index Show. We just had a great experience, so we all kind of giddy right now and laughing.
Stay tuned for after the credits for some comedic action.
So, I can't stop laughing. Joining me is the one and the only, the Resident Peoples, Mr. Ray Apollo.
I like that one. Thanks. Hello, hi.
We have Korigi's Mansion, Mr. Corey Derrick.
Hi. Wow.
Jesse Wake, Mr. Jesse Douglas, otherwise Wisconsinite.
How's it going, guys?
And I'm your host, Parasite Eddie V.
You did it. You did it.
Yes, and I did it. Okay, so everybody go to Ray Apollo on Twitch and go check out his stream. I was in this chat, and so we was talking about something, and I was just like resident people, and so I was just like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do for the next show. I'm gonna do everybody's like a horror game.
I like it.
Thing. So yes. So everybody, we are actually gonna skip the housekeeping. If you want to know all about it, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook at the Index Project. We're going to have a really good show. We're not doing any news, but we have a good game get down. But we actually have a discussion, the great decade of games, where from 2009 to 2019 there's been a wealth of games that have came out that has changed the industry, which has been innovative, very creative. It's just some of our personal favorites and stuff, so we're going to be talking about that. We each got 3 games that we're going to present, and in the case if we have any like backup games or honorable mentions, in case one of us says it, we could present that game. So let's get into the game get down. Definitely Jesse, Corey, and I think you, Ray, have been playing the Outer Worlds.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. And Jesse, I know you've been playing Modern Warfare. So for me, just quickly, I've been playing Ninja, Clash of Carrots, DMC, Devil May Cry 5. I have a special project that I started with that, and hopefully you will check it out. And that's pretty much all I've been playing. And The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, I played that with Corey for our retro show for Nintendo Power Block. So that's pretty much all I've been playing. Go ahead, you guys, jump into the Outer Worlds, and then Jesse, I'll hand it over to you to get your ideas for Modern Warfare. So, what are your thoughts about the Outer Worlds, guys?
It is the Fallout game I think I've always wanted. Like for me, like since Fallout 3 and even 4 and Elder Scrolls and stuff, like I always feel like those games are too big and daunting and like makes me want to play other games because I'm one of those people who can't like really spend like 4 or 5 months on the same game as I've been playing Destiny for 5 years. Just ignore that comment, it's fine. But like I think what the Outer Worlds does well is it cuts all the fat out from those games. I'm only a couple hours in. I'm still on the first planet because I just like to explore every nook and cranny and talk to all the people, which is really fascinating that you can literally talk to almost everybody and get something out of them.
So I spent 10 hours on the first planet.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I heard something interesting where like somebody did all the side quests and all of the side missions and main missions and tasks and stuff, and it took them about 50 hours, and then their second playthrough they burned through the story and beat it in 6. So like that gives you like the perspective of how much there is to do in this game, I guess. But that first planet's really cool. Like I was exploring, and then I found like the very first mission has you like trying to find this ship, and you find it, and then you walk out, and you have to go to the main town and to fix the ship. But I was exploring this scrapyard that's kind of probably to the south of the ship, and there's these giant ape-looking creatures called primals.
Yes.
Do not fight them. Do not fight them.
Not that early, no.
So I was like, I'll just use the shotgun I found, and shoot them. Guess what? Nope. I was just like, run away.
Gorillas with superpowers, and I was terrified. So yeah.
Yeah. But I really like the aesthetic of this game. You know, I like the retro future look to it. I think just the way the costumes, the way the outfits look in the advertisements, and even the little things like the packs of cigarettes that you find laying around, or the bottles that you find with these old style labels, or just some of these posters that you find with the old school kind of advertisements on it. It's just super cool and super fascinating. As someone who is really into the way things are marketed and how advertising works and everything, like this just looking at posters and stuff just makes me like, oh my gosh. I found myself on stream last night staring at this one poster for like 3 minutes, and someone popped in my chat and was like, is your stream frozen? I'm like, no, nope,
I'm just reading.
just looking. So but other than that, like, even all the characters have super fleshed out personalities. Like, the dialogue is cleverly written, and I literally found myself laughing out loud probably 4 or 5 times within the first 2 or 3 hours I was playing.
So speaking on the dialogue, I love how much choice you have with the dialogue for the first time.
Yes.
I feel like they're like, I've always in games like this, they give us dialogue options, but I felt like they never give us follow-up questions to the question that we ask, and it used to drive me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is the first game where you legitimately get to ask the questions that you want, but there's layers to the questions. So it's like, well, depending on how they answer the question, it's like, if that wasn't enough. Like, I've had people where I've had a conversation, and then I'm like, well, maybe they have more. There's got to be more to the story than that. And I talk to them again, and I can ask them extra stuff about the question. I take the information that I just got from them asking that first question, and I can ask them more questions about it. And I'm like, okay, no, this is good. I like this.
Yeah, where they give
so
you
nice.
that option in the dialogue. There's one more thing I'd like to ask you, or
okay.
whatever. Yeah, they
Yeah.
give you like, and then
And
it
I love
opens
that.
up a whole nother menu of things you can ask.
Like, it makes me like, that's how people talk, and it
Yeah.
makes me feel like
Yeah.
they wrote it like people would actually have a conversation instead of just yes and no. This equals that. This is like, oh well, if they were talking about this, they might talk about this, and it might go around to that. Like, that matters, and they do it so well.
Yeah, like that one of the first kind of characters you come across is Silas the Gravedigger, who, like, for the spacer whatever, like, he gets paid to like dig graves, and you have to like, one of the side missions is that you have to collect the fees for the people's graves, right? Because they have to pay fees to the what do they call it, the board, to even
Spacer's choice.
while they're alive, they have to pay for their grave sites, and they have to collect fees, and you have to go around and collect fees, right? And then you get this whole other, like, I found 2 side quests just doing that one side quest, right? Where, like, you can either get the medicine for the one guy who's sick, or when you walk out, there's
His name was
yeah, and then when you walk down the stairs, like, there's a chick standing there, and you just hear it, like, she's like, hey, I need to talk to you, right?
Yeah, just like out of the corner, you could have ignored it.
Yeah, you could have ignored it, you could walk by, or you can do whatever, right? And, like, you could have either gone and got the medicine for Abernathy, or you can talk to this chick, and, like, this lady asks you, like, to not give it to him, but to give it to her, right? To sell it to her. And, like, it just becomes this whole new branch of dialogue and quest line, and I'm like, man, this game is, like, super deep, and it really makes me excited to keep playing.
Yes, I can't wait. I just got to the immediate next part from that place, and I haven't left the ship yet, so I'm waiting to see what's happening after that, after we're done today.
Yeah.
Quick question: did they ever state that it'll have multiple endings for this game? Because I know the game has high replay value. Like, people who have finished it actually have started the game back again to make different choices.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Because, like, you can play this game as a complete idiot, and people will just treat you like a complete idiot, right? Like, you can act like
And it's that sounds hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah, my character, I'm playing as a murderous clown looking dude, and I've literally murdered everyone up to the point of meeting the gravedigger guy. He was the only guy that I let live because he gave me information and was helpful. But like I was talking with you guys, or well, mostly with Ray in the chat, and like I just love that, like, because I had murdered everyone in the beginning, human resources sent a guy, Ernie or something like that, or I forget what his name was, but like I went onto the ship, and then in the very beginning, after killing everyone, and then I come back out, and he's just there waiting for me to come off the ship, and he's like, so I noticed that they're all dead, and and he's like going on about like my choices that I've made, and he said, well, he's like, either way, I'm gonna have to clean up all these bodies now, and and then it gave me the option. I asked, well, can I at least have their armor or whatever? And he's like, no. He's like, unfortunately, that armor is sacred, and we need to bring back the bodies and their armor, need to go back with them, and this and that. And then he said something, and then I said, I don't like the tone. I don't like the tone of your voice, or something like that, I said to him. And so then he's just kind of annoyed with me, and then he left, and the second he turned around to leave, I hit him in the back of the head and killed him.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Oh my god. I just like being just the jerk to everyone in the game, and like if they don't, if they're not helpful to me, I just kill them.
I mean,
when I heard that, it reminds me of the Monty Python intro, where they be like, this third person has been also sacked.
Oh,
yeah, like in the intro, and it just reminds me that like he was talking to you in just a cutscene, or just to let everything be like, this person is going to turn around. Guess what? He will be sacked, and then you just showed that he sacked him. He hit him with a pike.
And the physics, like when you bash someone in the back of the head, they like fly forward and fall onto the ground. It was what's going on here?
Uh-oh. Jesse's down. He's down.
So Ray, what are your thoughts?
So I mean, the Outer Worlds, like Corey started with this. I won't say it's the Fallout that I always wanted, because I never knew I wanted this Fallout. Essentially, this is one of the best, like, open. I guess I'd call it open world, like story-driven RPGs.
You know what? The setup really reminds me of, like, Knights of the Old Republic, kind of.
I never played that.
Oh,
so
it's on Game Pass. You should play it. It's a good one.
I probably should. It's a thing I'm actually thinking about starting weekly. It's like I have Game Pass. I'm really thinking about actually starting up playing something for Game Pass every week. So
is that the original one for Xbox, Corey?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have the physical version of that game. Maybe I'll go back to it.
I love this game so much. Like I have not this year, besides Devil May Cry 5 and Fire Emblem and maybe something else I forgot about, just wanted to sit down and only play this and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys know me, I can play 3 or 4 games a day.
Well, quick question before you continue, Ray. Are you guys getting like Fable? Because this game looks like this is kind of proof that Obsidian could do a Fable game, and I think it's because of art wise for right now. Because I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking at it art wise. I'm like, I could see Fable being done in the same style and look.
Well, if I wouldn't say the art style, but I would say the dialogue options they give you. Oh God, yes, please make Fable. They can write an incredible Fable game. And I want it real bad.
Okay. even if like they had like this writing team and brought on some, like, because Fable's humor is incredibly British, right? Like a lot of
super British.
Like you can bring in a couple people, like a couple British comedy writers, and like really British that up, I guess is how you would say that, and to write a Fable game and still have that same.
Okay, well, Ray, go ahead. You can finish.
Oh no,
I'm
it's
sorry
just
to interrupt.
I love this game. This game is fantastic. I love the way it feels. I love the way it looks. I just like how it feels complete. Does that make sense? This
Yeah.
world feels complete and
It's not a
full
buggy
in ways-
mess.
Right. Well, not just like mechanically. It just feels like they've built a universe that is working. Is there things that you want to do? There's places you want to go, places like things you want to do, things you don't want to happen. It feels full. I like
It's
games
fu-
that feel
it-
like this.
It's like what it is it's focused and more like compact. Like they really focused and care and like took care of every little detail of everything they made instead of just throwing a whole bunch of crap in there for
In one big
that
old
just
sandbox. Yeah.
to make it feel filled. Like fill it up like I was saying
I'll say
at
all the
the-
time, Fallout games have never felt full. Never.
Yeah. Well,
Like they're
not
big
only
in an open wasteland, but they've never felt full.
yeah, and like I was talking with Ed, like one of the things that I absolutely hate about games is when you have too many different kinds of currencies and all that kind of stuff, and that I hated that with Fallout, that like every little piece of garbage could be picked up in it, and then like you'd just just get used to just doing the pick up everything when you're scavenging something, and then next thing you know, your inventory would just be full of all this stupid stuff that honestly has no worth or nothing anyways. And it's like, why do you even put this in the game if there's really no use for it? Like, why are you even wasting the time to, this is time you could be trying to make it so the game isn't so buggy instead of putting all this useless, stuff in the game. And like, it just feels like they actually spent the time on everything and they focused on what mattered. And they just, they cut, like, like Corey said, they just cut the fat and, and didn't just try to throw all these things in it to make it feel, bigger than it is and stuff like that.
It's a lot of content that doesn't feel bloated and shoved in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, everybody, that is The Outer World. It is available for PS4, PC, and Xbox One. The Switch version will be coming out a little bit later. They haven't given it a release date at this time. I'm looking forward to picking it up and playing it. But we're going to move on to Modern Warfare. Jesse, I know you've been playing it. Have you been doing camp? You played it too, Ray? Thoughts on any of the campaign, any of the multiplayer?
Well, I
Did
just
you-
took the multiplayer, so
Okay, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll talk about the campaign, and like I did play a lot of multiplayer, but I'll let you like talk about that more, and I'll add to it if I need to. But so the campaign, honestly, like right off the bat, like I am like completely blown away at how well the story is playing out. And like they have like cutscene things where they do, in-engine stuff. And at first I thought, I'm like, holy crap, they're using, like actual live footage for these, these cutscenes or whatever. And but then as it starts loading in and it goes onto the character, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't live. This is like in-game rendered footage of the characters like in the game. And I'm like, holy crap, I thought this was like, it looks so realistic that I thought it was like actual live footage, like, and like only at certain points when they focus like on a person's face for a long period of time can you tell, just from the way their face looks, you can kind of tell that it's not real. But like when you're seeing like behind the head views and like, just like them going through the scenes to go to the characters that are talking and things like that, it looks real. Like it looks like it's actual like recorded footage, live footage. And like this game, man, it just like it puts you on edge right away, right from the beginning, and like just like everything going on, and like the sound, the sound quality of the the things going on around you, and like hearing them, like they'll give you orders, or because you're working as a tight team of and they're kind of like having talking military speak to you and to one another, and there's this part like where you're going through a house or through an apartment complex type thing, and you're clearing out the rooms one by one and going up the stairs, and dude, it is so tense, man. It feels so real. It feels like you're watching, like you're like controlling a video of a team of military guys like going through a house, clearing out the rooms one by one, because this game just looks so realistic. It is insane. Like, I mean, like, man, I don't like just seeing this game and this, the campaign.
Mhm.
Like, I can only imagine like where we're going to be in the future as far as realism and how real things look. Cause like, honestly, and I'm playing on the One X, but I don't have a 4K TV, so it still looks amazing. Like it's insane how this game looks. But beyond that, like, that's really got a lot of things going for it. But like they have, kind of changed things a little bit, how, the aesthetics of things and how things feel and look, and I it's weird, but I absolutely love like that you see your gun kind of in front of you the whole time. For whatever reason, it just feels, it makes it feel more realistic, and it makes it feel more like an actual simulator, I guess. Like, the shooting and all that stuff is, Call of Duty has always been really good with shooting. But like the sounds and stuff like that, they really did amp it up in this, and it does feel a lot more like realistic with sounds and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'll let you Ray get into the multiplayer, but this is the first Call of Duty where like I care 100 times more about the campaign than I do the multiplayer. And not saying that it's not that the multiplayer isn't good, but it's just this campaign is, and just what it is the experience it gives you. You just can't get it in the multiplayer. As you can get close to it, but
I mean, well, that's just what a campaign should be. A campaign should be a dedicated, well done story that complements a multiplayer. If you ask me.
Yeah.
So I mean, from the sound of it, it sounds like it's doing that, which is good. And that's we came up on Call of Duty. Call of Duty did have really good campaigns when we first started playing Call of Duty. Medal of Honor, rest in peace. But it was one of those things where it turned to multiplayer profitable, and that's what happened. And so stories went by the wayside. Multiplayer, I decided to jump into multiplayer because I had some friends who wanted to play, and so I was like, oh, okay, I know that this campaign isn't bad, and so I'm gonna play it at some. There've been 3 Call of Duty games where I bought and I never touched the campaign, but I will absolutely be playing this. So the multiplayer for this, it feels good. Like, I like the way it works. I mean, some of the maps definitely, they're not great, but they're not bad. I know some people who hate the maps, and I'm like, you're just saying that because it's Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty is faulty all the time. That's just the way it is. But the sound design in this one is probably some of the best it's ever been. The sound is really good. Like, when there's somebody either above me or next to me or behind me, I can hear that. And it's not like I'm not mishearing it. No, I can hear exactly that they're above me. I can hear exactly that they're next to me. I can hear it, and it sounds good. I spent 5 minutes just picking the sound quality that I wanted for the game, because they make you pick. There's different sound profiles that you can pick in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I spent like 5 minutes going through that, which was awesome.
So it sounds like the sound engineering in this is like really spot on. Like, they really listen and try to get the sound effects, probably like reverb and all of that stuff. They probably worked really hard to get all of that just right. Because I can agree with you, Jesse. Even though I haven't played this one, there are some great sound effects in the Call of Duty series. Like if you listen to it on the headset, like they really sound good. You know.
Yeah. I can't remember. Don't quote me. I don't remember the amount, but there was, I think they used over 200 microphones when recording shooting the guns.
Do you want to know what?
To get all the different sounds.
My assumption for the sound then is from Titanfall 2. Because if they are people coming from Respawn and they worked on Titanfall 2, because Titanfall 2 got some great sounds. So if it sounds closer to that, then they are spot on good with sound.
I'd say it's better. than that. Like not that Titanfall was bad, but it was.
But I'm just saying, if it's on that kind of level of being that kind of quality, and you know them doing it better, of course you're gonna want to advance. Like if that's that kind of level of quality when they're doing with sound or the guns and stuff, that's spot on A. That's like great A. So sorry I had to cut you guys off quickly because we got to get into this great topic that we're about to have. I know we are limited on time, so the great decade of games. So we all are going to bring 3 games, and if you guys have any honorable mentions or anything, you can read the list at the end of the show. Not the end of the show, at the end of the discussion. But we're going to each come with 3 games that we kind of think played a part in this decade of games of 10 years from 2009 to 2019. So Corey, I'm going to start with you. What is your first game that you think affected the decade of gaming?
Oh gosh, I think we would be probably stupid and uninformed if we did not include Destiny on this list. Games as a service.
But okay. No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm not saying. I mean, I love Destiny, but like, you can't deny the influence that game has had across the gaming landscape in the last decade, even the last like couple years, right? Like, the way that Destiny has created this games as a service genre with games like The Division and Anthem, and well, maybe Anthem, and you know, even games that aren't necessarily in the MMO space, but well, I don't know if you call Destiny MMO. They're trying to call themselves an MMO, but you know, even you take the battle royale stuff like Apex and Fortnite and PUBG. They're like all these kind of ideas as an ongoing game, as an ongoing service. Even Ubisoft is putting this into their single player games like Assassin's Creed, right? Like the game as a service to keep you in their game longer, so you spend more money within the game that you're playing, is something that Destiny started, or not started, but made super popular this gen. And so, you know, I think realistically, World of Warcraft and EverQuest probably started that trend realistically, but I think Destiny is the one that made it popular. And
I think for like console, definitely Destiny is that. You know, I think World of Warcraft did it for PC. Destiny really did it for console, because regardless of
which is funny because Destiny is actually a superior game on PC now.
But you know what? Regardless of what people say and feel about Destiny, I definitely agree with you that it's really influenced on how people game online, and you know, getting together to do raids, finding that perfect gun, just doing all of this stuff and getting definitely the FPS crowd together to do something major and something big like Destiny. So, you know, I really give I like I still say I think Destiny 2 is a wonderful game over the first one, but I like the fact that Destiny, the first game, started this all. So yeah, I agree with you. Yes.
Destiny 1 still has the best raids, I think, still. I haven't played all of them in Destiny 2, but like the the way that they kind of created these raids for a console specific audience, you know, the Vault of Glass, I don't think is the best raid like mechanically, but the first time you go in there into the Vault of Glass and you make your way through and you're fighting Atheon at the end, like that first experience of beating a raid with your friends is one of the best feelings I've ever had in video games, right? And you know, I know a lot of people were disappointed with Crota's End, but you get to King's Fall and just being able to, oh my gosh, when me and my original raid team were at our peak, we were beating King's Fall in like 40 minutes. And like, dude, it just having that raid down mechanically and knowing what to do and knowing that you can rely on your teammates and like, as long as you do your specific job, like getting through those raids as a team was something special, and like still probably one of my favorite moments in games, period, was you know, mechanically getting these raids down. It's such a unique experience for me, you know, on console at least, like just beating those raids and finding those weapons to make the raids easier, and finding the exotic weapons that go to the raid to, you know, take them down easier. Like there's just so many levels of I don't even know how to explain it. There's just so many levels of the raids that make you feel like, man, this is just an awesome experience. And it's sad that like a lot of people don't get to experience that because it requires a lot of communication and dedication and teamwork and having good rapport with your teammates. And it's sad that a lot of people don't get to do that because the raids are arguably the best content in Destiny. But you know, it's just awesome. I love Destiny, even though I hate Destiny sometimes. So,
so Ray, what is your choice? What's your first game?
So my first game is Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 is when games clicked in with me for the first time as kind of a semi transitioning from a teenager into an adult. I was in college. I had just become an RA. I left my Xbox at home, so I didn't have an Xbox, so I bought a PlayStation because I was like, I'll play more single player games, you know, because I'm in college. I don't really have time to play multiplayer games. And one day I was in GameFly then as well, because you know, in college you ain't got no money.
Fair.
I went to Uncharted 2, and I didn't play the first Uncharted, but I remember reading online because this is back when IGN was like at its height. I'm reading IGN articles, and they were like speaking about how Uncharted 2 was one of the best games ever. And I was like, well, I mean, let me try this out. And I played it, and I fell in love with it. Just what they managed to do with this game, I don't think I experienced or to at that point, I was not aware of what's happening in that.
Where's this microphone?
What happened?
I don't think you're close enough to your microphone.
Your microphone cuts out a lot.
Little bit. You cut out a little bit in the last.
I'm just gonna turn myself up, so I don't have to worry about that. Anyway, yeah, it was one of those things where the characters worked, the setting worked, the controls mostly worked, but it made me fall in love with the music in video games, the places that they could take you in video games, and the set pieces they could do. In Uncharted 2, it was just so different and so powerful that I was like, I'm gonna always remember this game, and I always will. Like legitimately, I'm gonna always remember my time with Uncharted 2 and the ending of that game. And I remember sitting in my dorm room at like 3 a.m. finishing that game, going, "What just happened?" So no, that's my first.
Yeah, Uncharted 2.
Ed's not an Uncharted fan.
Uncharted 2 really was game of the year for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it really showcased how Naughty Dog really could mix action and story together. You know, definitely coming from like Jak and Daxter, like seeing them make a game like that.
And I love those games too.
Yeah, I love Jak and Daxter, and Naughty Dog is really talented in doing that. And so seeing them what they did with Uncharted 2. Yeah, it's a high point for a lot of people for the series. I think it's not the Mega Man 2 versus Mega Man 3 kind of battle between 2 and 4. with some people, but a lot of people still hold Uncharted 2 as like the top tier of Naughty Dog's Uncharted series.
Everybody write this down. Ed said something positive about Uncharted. Everybody.
Well, he listened to my heartfelt story and my tale of my time with Uncharted. He could not help but understand. Oh yeah, maybe it was a decent game.
I would give like I have my problems with Uncharted 2, but I will give it props because you had GameFly. I brought the game and I played it, and I still got the I might go play with the Trilogy collection that came out for PS4. I want to see how Blue Point did with it. But yeah. So I will leave it at that because we have to move on. Jesse, what is your first game about the great decade of games?
So like kind of my pick is kind of similar to almost Ray's in a lot of ways, but like I'd have to go with the reboot of the Tomb Raider series. Like growing up,
which game? The first one?
Yeah, the first one. I mean, they're all really good in their ways. But like for me, like I grew up playing the original ones on original PlayStation, and like that to me was one of my favorite at the time. It was between like that and like Parasite Eve I liked a lot at that time, but Resident Evil obviously. Like those were my games that I enjoyed playing because of the story and the characters. And if you know me, like that, like I tend to not be a big like story game fan. Like I will play a game if the story interests me, but I'm more like to play stuff either co-op or multiplayer, but that's besides the point. But so like Tomb Raider had always been, like one of my, things that I held up on a pedestal of a story, storytelling games that I really enjoyed. And they managed to take, like, I feel like with this new reboot, they managed to take that, like the things that I loved about the original Tomb Raider games and improve on it quite a bit. And just make you like, I felt like I cared like much more about the characters in the game. And like, I wasn't really a fan of the whole, like, like my favorite was that first Tomb Raider game when you're just inside these caves and stuff and you're just battling the
T-Rex.
The T-Rex, and you're battling.
That thing terrified me the first time, by the way. Just fun fact.
Dude, I don't know what it was about not going against humans, just going against the elements that felt so much better. But
at that time, it was really different. So it
was. I don't know. It just, and I kind of wish they would go back to that at some point. But like my thing is like what I was getting at is I did not like when they started. It was you going against humans. I loved the story enough that I would still continue to play them, but I feel like with this reboot, I feel like the characters that you're going against made a little bit more sense story wise of why because a lot of times you'd be going against these like people that are like part of whatever the thing that you're into, like like actual people from the islands or wherever you are, that you're actually kind of having to deal with and things like that. Like they made it feel like more blended together and not just like like kind of it just got boring just shooting character people or whatever, but they actually made it interesting in this reboot, and they've kind of just did a really good job of showing you how well like things can be rebooted and how like changing things quite a bit from the original in some ways can improve upon, games. And we're seeing more and more reboots now happening where they really do a good job. There has, like, I feel like in the past there's been some reboots that have been, okay, but I feel like there's finally people are getting better at rebooting games now and like actually, making you want the new one over the original. So, yeah, and I feel like Tomb Raider is the first one that I can think of off the top of my head that really was like the reboot was better than the originals, like, for me. So like that's why I picked it. I feel like since that has been rebooted, we've been getting better reboots of things.
Yeah. All right. Well, my choice for number one is Bayonetta 2. Not only did this showcase kind of platinum when they worked with a top tier developer and publisher as a company, Nintendo, this thing really kind of brought in the talk of over sexualization of women, but it was just such a fun blast to play. Like the combos, the comedy in it, the music, like you could still see people being excited about Bayonetta, where one is so good, but no one really didn't think it would be on this high level of making her kind of a iconic character, or cosplaying as her. Bayonetta 2 is just like Bayonetta 2 was so good that people who were against it downloaded the demo and kept replaying the demo till the game came out. Like, and everybody just got so excited for this game. So it was a big win to have on a Wii U, I think, personally. Some other games also, but Bayonetta 2 would be my choice. So back to you, Corey. What is your number two?
My number two, this one's going to be kind of short, but Mass Effect 2, I think, is a pretty strong candidate for being influential. I would say the first one, but it came out in 2007, and that's over a decade old. So Mass Effect 2, I think it really pointed the direction of what action RPGs would become over the next few years, right? Like, they gave you a lot of choice and freedom, and like I get a lot of that sense in the Outer Worlds, right? But I mean, it's a little bit better in the Outer Worlds, obviously, but they had time to evolve, and it's not BioWare or whatever. But Mass Effect really gave you that sense of like, my choice matters, and helping companions complete their missions and stuff really gave you a difference in the outcome of the game. It just really became a game that stood out in a time where action RPGs were, I don't want to say were non-existent, but it made them popular, I would say.
Western action RPGs, that's to say.
I mean, yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
And plus, Mass Effect 2 got one of the best cast of characters.
Yeah.
Like, hands down.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
it's the first
critically acclaimed, so yeah.
Like, it's one of those games that made me actually go back to the first one and replay the first one.
Same here.
So I could have a different version of that game to play through, right? And I know it wasn't that different, but like, some of the choices that you make in the first game carry over into the second game and then into the third game. I think I read something ridiculous that if you played all three games and their DLCs, like, there's something over 370 something hooks that could change throughout the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, and some of it's really little things, but other things are actually characters showing up in the third game. Like, there's a very specific mission in Mass Effect 1 DLC that it's one of the DLCs where you have to go infiltrate this base and you have to take out a bounty hunter or something, and you can either let him live or kill him. And if you let him live, in Mass Effect 3, there's like there's like 2 or 3 quest lines that involve him that just aren't there if you killed him in Mass Effect 1.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's just one of those series and games in particular that really had an impact, at least for me in my life, and saying, oh, I actually like action RPGs and seeing how choice matters in games, right? So Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2 really brought a lot of people to BioWare. It was a game, actually Mass Effect 1 brought me to BioWare, but then when I played 2, that's all I could talk about for games. If it wasn't Mass Effect 2, then it was kind of like Nintendo in a sense. But yeah, I definitely agree. Ray, what is your second game?
So my second game, I'm jumping to a very current timeline. This game kind of took action RPGs, again, by storm. When it came out. This was at a time I had just had a major operation done, and so I was going to be down for about 2 weeks. And my wife was gracious enough to go out and pick up for me The Witcher 3, and I played the bejesus out of this game. I'm telling you, it's one of the masterfully crafted games. The story is also phenomenal. If you couldn't tell, I love story in video games. The way it looked, also great. The score, is so good. And just the way that game played and the choices that you made and how they changed the story mattered so much. And it was so well done. But it was also the first time that a game truly overwhelmed me with the amount of stuff that you could do in the game.
Yeah.
Dude, like I'm still in the intro trying to get through stuff. Like, man, you get done with one side quest, and there's another side quest right after it. Like,
that is a large game, and then the DLC is just two separate games, basically.
Exactly, they are, and I still haven't finished them. It's one of those games where it's like, I can come back to this game in a few years, and yeah, the controls aren't super great after you've played a lot of other different games, but at that time, there was nothing really else like that. Even their games were not like The Witcher 3 beforehand. They were similar, but Witcher 3 was a whole different beast.
And the crazy thing is that, so The Witcher 3 has been released on Switch. People are still buying that game and
as you should.
it.
Because it's a phenomenal experience for video games,
and people are not caring about the frame rate and performance. With the performance, they say it's fine.
Because performance is actually pretty good, though. That's why.
Yeah,
it doesn't look super great, is what I think you mean to say. Is it doesn't look great, but it plays well.
But yeah, and people just like, I'm getting that full that big experience that I would not believe that would be on a Nintendo console, especially in portable form. So.
Yep. And so that's my second pick. I had The Witcher 3. I feel like it really did help redefine action RPGs again, and I'm really happy that it exists.
So Jesse, what is yours? What's your second pick?
My second pick is Rainbow Six Siege. It's kind of funny because when it first came out, people didn't really know that they wanted it, I don't think. And, it just it didn't really get much attention at first, but eventually it started to, gain more and more, people looking at it. And part of it, I think, is maybe, cause it did come out, came out, I think December 1st of 2015. And then in May, Overwatch would come out the next year. So I think once it was kind of one of those things where it was ahead of its time. Once
I would just say that it preceded it was lucky that it preceded Overwatch and it didn't come after Overwatch because Overwatch was a black hole that absorbed everything around it.
Well, to be fair, Battleborn also preceded Overwatch.
Did it though?
Yeah. Well, and
continue, Jesse.
Well. So the thing is I feel like Overwatch kind of does the whole more cartoonish style of everything, whereas Siege is more of your realistic tactical military style version of that game, and part of Overwatch coming out and people realizing that kind of game can work. I think it did bring more people then back to Siege, just because it, then you kind of understanding the whole idea of having characters that have different abilities and trying to, combo them with other characters and, trying to figure out what's the best way to, better your team to be able to go up against the other team.
In a weird sense, the Rainbow Six Siege kind of went through the same thing that Destiny went through. Like it felt really bare bones, but over time it grew into a better product. It grew into a better experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now like Call of like Overwatch is still big, but like and there always has been a pretty decent size, I think more on PC than on console, but there's been a decent size group of people who just love playing Siege and do it a lot. But like now you're seeing like ever since like kind of Siege was showing like just the fact that they're able to, they plan on putting content into it for 10 years. It'll have been out for 10 years by the time the final content comes out, and them talking about wanting to have 100 different characters by the end of it that you can pick from is just insane. Like that's just not something you would ever had heard people say in the past, like at all. Like that, it just seems completely ridiculous, but like they're serious about it, and they've just, and so like kind of that setup of what they've done in Siege has influenced like, more recently it feels like, but like Call of Duty started doing they're like, hey, like this whole idea of having different characters that have different abilities type thing, like they've kind of been doing that more often now, and like with the new Modern Warfare, it feels a lot more like Siege. Just looked like the whole opening doors and being able to kind of have things that that allow you to kind of play in a different different ways in different styles, and have different characters that can that you can have a class set up for certain things, and it just like it feels like it's kind of taking some of those ideas. Like I feel like Black Ops 4 took a little bit more of those ideas, from Siege, and like having the more like just completely, crazy different class. Each character has something that they can do that, no one else can or whatever. But
okay.
Yeah, that's why I picked that. It just feels like they've influenced quite a bit and help change, the idea of, first person shooters don't have to just be these big maps and whatever, that you can have smaller, more, compact maps.
All right. Well, my pick for my second one is Horizon Zero Dawn. I believe this game from Guerrilla Games, surpassed a lot of Sony's PS4 first-party games, besides The Last Guardian, personally for me. But I love the themes and the direction and the story that they told with Aloy. Like, this game really touched on a lot of things that I don't think really many people at Sony was doing. And so it surprised me. Like I said, I did not like that E3 trailer, but actually playing this game, like whoever made it Game of the Year, personally for them, it really truly deserves. It had a lot of competition, especially with a certain game that's also on my list. But Horizon Zero Dawn will be my number 2, and congratulations for, I think, did they sell 10 million?
Yeah.
I think they sold 10 million around the world. Like, congratulations to them for doing that. Congratulations to the Guerrilla Games. They really deserve that.
Definitely, maybe not the best PlayStation exclusive, like critically out there, but definitely my favorite PlayStation exclusive this generation, for sure.
So Corey, back to you. What is your final game?
I know what your final game is going to be. I think, Ed, judging by your hat, so I'm going to choose a different one. something I still think is influential.
No, actually, you could choose it. Mine's going to be something different.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose a different one.
Okay.
Oh, my kid is awake.
Nice young man.
Nice young man. God of War, I think, is. Ray's face. I don't know if I should talk about it now.
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay, so
just pick Zelda. Then.
Just kidding, Zelda. No, God of War, I think, changed the way we can see a series continue, and I think we see its influences in stuff like Gears 5, right? Mm-hmm. Specifically in the storytelling. I wasn't really into God of War at first because I was like, what is this trying to do? And you know, I knew it was different from the original games, right? But I really love those original games in terms of the action and just the scope of the game. And so I went into this like not knowing how to feel, but you know, I played the first half. This is a really weird situation, but like I played the first half of the game not being a dad, and then I finished it after my daughter was born. So I had a really weird, unique flip of perspective on that game, where like I wasn't playing as a dad, and then I was playing as a dad, and like I know when I finished it, my kid was only about 3 or 4 months old, right? But it still changed the way I felt about the characters growing and the lessons that Kratos was trying to teach Atreus, and the way that game progressed, and just seeing how they are trying to tell a different type of story with it. And granted, it's not the greatest story ever told, right? Like I think that what they do have though is a stepping stone into making a new trilogy of games, I guess. Maybe, probably.
I definitely tell that they were dipping their toes to see if it would be received well.
Yeah.
And now that they saw how like everybody lost their minds, this next game is going to be insane.
Yeah, and I really I think whatever God of War 5 is going to be, it's going to open up just as epic as the Colossus fight from God of War 2, or even the Stranger fight from this one, because you know, after the credits, if you go back to the house, right, that cutscene that happens, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played it, but you know, it's a pretty big telltale sign of what's coming. So I'm pretty excited for that, but I think God of War, you seeing the story influences even on something like Gears 5. I think Gears 5 was clearly influenced by God of War in terms of story. So
God of War needs to really fix their writing, because there was just some stupid lines in that game.
There's stupid lines in every game, Ed.
Exactly.
But this one was like super stupid with some
it was not. Moving on.
Ed got all of his PlayStation positivity out on Uncharted 2.
But I can tell. But I will say that I agree with you, Corey, that like presentation wise, God of War is really top notch. Like Cory Barlog and Santa Monica really deserve the props. They did a fantastic job. Really enjoyed that game. Just now, this time, lose the Blades of Chaos. I don't need them anymore. I want something.
No, we need them.
Different. I think that was a one time. I feel like we're gonna bring it back just one last time.
No, we're gonna
make it the nunchucks of.
Oh God.
The nunchucks from Devil May Cry 3. The ice chucks. That would be bad. That wouldn't
Fire chucks.
Ray, did you say the God chucks?
The God chucks.
The God chucks.
Yeah. So this last one, since Corey took mine, which was great because it's a really good game, one of the best games I've ever played, straight up. It put me in a spot where it's like, well, what other games really? And I mean, when I was going games of the decade, it was like, what games in the past decade have really, really left an impression on me? And there's a lot. But the last one, I feel like people would have been disappointed if I didn't actually mention it. So thank you, Corey.
So I'm here.
Divinity Original Sin 2. Absolutely one of the best RPGs ever made. The choices that you can make, the stories and they tell with each character, mind you, which you don't even you can't get all the stories in one playthrough, so you have to play it multiple times to get all of the stories. First of all, it's a deep lore that's rich and fun, and it really lets you it gives you a playground. Like you find yourself asking the question, "Can I do this?" And when you try and do it, though, you freak out because, oh my god, I can do that. And I love that game, and I will always love Divinity: Original Sin 2 because of what it was for me, and will be forever. So.
Yeah, I need to install it on my PS4. I'm super excited to play this. I really am. I want to get through one on Xbox and then hurry up jump on PS4. Like, I cannot wait to play this. So I'm so excited.
It's good. I love
it. So Jesse, what is your last game?
Okay. So the last game, I love Resident Evil 2 remake. It's like my favorite game of all time now. But I want to actually give love to Resident Evil Biohazard or Resident Evil 7.
Mm-hmm.
They did something really, really bold and just like they really stepped it up, and said, hey, like we're gonna make this game that has been traditionally a third person game, into a first person game. And like honestly, like I didn't know that if it would work, but when I played that game, I was just so impressed with how realistic and just how much they really, even and like you guys know, like I don't like Resident Evil 4 or 5 or 6. I don't like the whole crazy people, attacking you thing. But they really impressed me to the point of where I couldn't even, be disappointed with it. Like it was just like, okay, like now I know, like this is the final showing of why this can work for a Resident Evil game. And then like the last thing really that I have to say about it is like I feel like that was the first game, like realistic looking game that was like full blown like game that you could play in VR and it actually wasn't just a gimmick. It like actually like was a VR game that made you see just how great VR can be is if you have someone who's working on a big title like that doing it, like it really, in my opinion, was the only game that was like a you have to experience it in VR type of thing.
The jump scares are on point. That dad busting out through that wall unexpectedly.
Man, that game in general is
phenomenal job. Oh yeah, they did a phenomenal job. So the last game for me is Breath of the Wild, The Legend of Zelda. Me and Corey discussed. It's been discussed everywhere. You guys can check the Power Block and hear all our discussions. It changed gaming for a lot of people. How a simple mechanic like climbing, people wanted that in a whole bunch of games and
which
stuff.
Which is why like when that game came out, like Horizon came out like 3 days beforehand, and like I was like, man, if you're debating on what no, it was like days. They came out the same week.
Yeah, because
they were very close.
Yeah,
it came out the end of
February, and I was like,
okay, yeah.
It's why I was kind of disappointed in Horizon at first, because like I played Breath of the Wild first, and then like I went to Horizon, and it felt like, not that Horizon is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I love that game to death, but going from Breath of the Wild to Horizon just felt like a step backwards simply because of the climbing.
Yeah.
So I stopped playing Breath of the Wild to finish Horizon because I knew that I wasn't going to enjoy Horizon as much had I kept playing Breath of the Wild. Yeah. So I stopped playing Breath of the Wild to go back and finish Horizon.
I feel like a lot of people did that. Like I that was like kind of an ongoing thing that people talked about, like not wanting to Mix the sauce.
And to me, Breath of the Wild and Horizon is that Mega Man 2 versus 3 discussion. But they both could coexist. Like, I had to give both games. I mean, I feel like Breath of the Wild does get Game of the Year, but I'm not mad if people gave Horizon Game of the Year over Breath of the Wild for game. Like, they both well deserve that title. For it. So, just to recap for everybody, we have Destiny, Uncharted 2, Tomb Raider, Bayonetta 2, Mass Effect 2, The Witcher 3, Rainbow Six Siege, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Divinity Original Sin 2, Resident Evil 7, Breath of the Wild. Some other games that you guys might also enjoy: Spec Ops: The Line, Dark Souls, Quantum Break, Super Mario Maker, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Dead Cells, Sleeping Dogs, Shovel Knight, Link Between Worlds, Forza Horizon 4 and 3, Titanfall 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Kirby Epic Yarn, Metroid Other M, Just Dance, Dance Central 2, and there are tons of other great games for
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne is another one. Yes.
Not say that.
Yeah.
Wonder why I didn't.
Dead Space is one of my.
Dead Space is another one. The reason I didn't say Bloodborne is because Dark Souls is kind of the jump off point for these Souls kind of games. Even though Demon Souls.
Well, Bloodborne instead.
So
play Sekiro over all of them.
Play the Surge.
I would say play Bloodborne over Sekiro, but I mean, you should definitely play Sekiro.
Sekiro is the first game that they made that I was interested in playing.
So that is just our personal list. Oh, that is just our personal list. There's tons of games. Like, you have 10 years of games that really talked about this decade of gaming. So in 2020, we'll start a new decade with new consoles and new gaming, and I can't wait to see what it leads. But everybody, that is going to be the show. Quick plugs. Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at CoreyNHD713 on Twitter and CoreyNHD on Instagram and Mixer.
Ray, where can we find you?
You can find me everywhere at Ray Apollo, RayAPOLLO.
Not a chicken.
You can find Jesse at PhantomMaggot NXS on Twitter, Xbox, Mixer, Twitch, and other things. Is that correct, Ray? I mean,
yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
That we worked. That was like perfect timing. My family just got here, so
yes. And you guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code. You can check out Optional's opinion on SoundCloud and the podcast apps. Also check out Nintendo Power Block on NX Games. That's now our new YouTube channel. Check out Squad Goals and other stuff. Please go check out Ray Apollo's Twitch content. He's doing fantastic. I love the games that he is playing. He is playing a horror game, Moons of Madness, and I have been dying laughing.
I actually really like it. So there's that.
Yes. So with that, everybody, actually have a great Halloween. And we will see you guys in November for questions and a new show. With that, everybody, we'll see you next time on the NX show. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Here's a real life